What happens when a seven-time world champion steps into a Ferrari for the first time at Monza and immediately delivers lap times that leave the team's own engineers questioning everything they thought they knew about their car? How does a driver facing a 5-place grid penalty suddenly become the most feared competitor on the grid? And why are Ferrari insiders calling Lewis Hamilton's practice performance impossible to believe after just 2 sessions? The events that unfolded during Friday practice at the Italian Grand Prix have rewritten the narrative of Ferrari's 2024 season in ways nobody saw coming. The transformation was immediate and undeniable. When Hamilton fired up the SF25 for his first proper laps at Monza wearing Ferrari red, something clicked that caught everyone off guard. This wasn't the gradual learning curve that typically defines a driver's adaptation to a new machine. This was mastery from lap 1. The stopwatch doesn't lie. Hamilton topped the timesheets in FP1 with authority, but the real story was hidden in the technical data. Through the Variante della Roggia, historically Ferrari's Achilles heel this season, Hamilton was carrying an additional 3 to 4 kilometers per hour of mid-corner speed compared to what the team had achieved all year. This corner complex had been where the SF25 showed its most problematic characteristics, yet Hamilton navigating it like he'd designed the circuit himself. Ferrari's telemetry operators watched in amazement as Hamilton's first competitive lap on medium compound tires immediately challenged the session's top times. No tentative exploration, no gradual building of confidence, no corrections or slides. The car was dancing to his rhythm from the opening sector. When Hamilton switched to soft tires for his final qualifying simulation, his approach was calculated perfection. The first sector was controlled. He wasn't even pushing to maximum yet. But Sector 2 became a masterclass. Both Lesmo corners were attacked with surgical precision that Ferrari hadn't witnessed all season. Through Ascari, the car remained planted and stable. Then came Parabolica, taken flat out in a manner that drew audible gasps from the Ferrari pit wall. The result? Purple middle sector. Fastest overall time? Hamilton dominating Ferrari's home practice session on his debut weekend in red. But Friday's opening session was merely the appetizer. What Hamilton demonstrated in FP2 revealed something that could fundamentally alter Ferrari's championship ambitions for the remainder of the season. Friday afternoon practice sessions typically separate the genuine contenders from the qualifying specialists. Track temperatures rise, fuel loads increase, and the harsh reality of race conditions emerges. This is where Hamilton chose to make his most significant statement. While championship rivals Max Verstappen and Lando Norris concentrated on qualifying preparation, Hamilton instructed his team to load the SF25 with race fuel and simulate Grand Prix conditions. The request seemed logical, but the results defied explanation. Over a sustained 10-lap stint on medium tires, Hamilton maintained pace consistency that Ferrari hadn't achieved once during the entire 2024 campaign. His lap-to-lap variation stayed within 0.2, with virtually no degradation curve. This consistency directly addressed Ferrari's season-long weakness, the inability to maintain competitive pace over extended runs. Ferrari engineers monitoring the live data found themselves double-checking fuel readings and tire pressures. The SF25 had been notorious for rear tire degradation, unpredictable balance shifts, and performance falling off cliffs after 5 or 6 laps. Yet Hamilton was delivering lap 3, lap 5, and lap 8 at nearly identical pace levels, as if the previous limitations had simply vanished. The straight-line performance added another dimension to Hamilton's dominance. Ferrari's ultra-low drag rear wing configuration pushed Hamilton's SF25 to over 348 kilometers per hour on Monza's main straight during race simulation runs. This speed matched McLaren's best efforts and consistently exceeded Verstappen's Red Bull by 2 to 3 km/h. The crucial detail, this straight-line advantage came without sacrificing cornering performance. Hamilton's exit velocity from Lesmo 2 repeatedly hit 246 km/h, a figure that Leclerc, running lighter fuel loads, could only achieve sporadically. The most revealing moment came when Hamilton's teammate witnessed this performance firsthand. Charles Leclerc's reaction exposed just how dramatically the power balance within Ferrari had shifted in the span of a single afternoon. In Formula One, admitting a teammate has found something you cannot match requires exceptional honesty. Charles Leclerc's candid acknowledgement that Hamilton had discovered pace through sectors 2 and 3 that remain beyond his reach spoke volumes about Friday's events. For Leclerc to make this admission at Monza, Ferrari's spiritual home, his most familiar circuit, indicated how profoundly Hamilton's feedback was resonating within the team. The contrast between their approaches had become stark. Leclerc remained competitive over single-lap qualifying runs, while Hamilton appeared virtually untouchable over race distances. This dynamic shift was transforming Ferrari's internal atmosphere. Engineers who typically concluded Friday sessions with extensive setup modification lists found themselves with minimal adjustments required. The SF25 that had felt unpredictable and nervous at Zandvoort 2 weeks earlier was now responding to Hamilton's inputs with remarkable stability and consistency. Technical debriefs took on an entirely different character. Instead of discussing damage limitation strategies and hoping to minimize weaknesses, Ferrari's engineers were analyzing tire offset strategies, optimal stint lengths, and methods to leverage Hamilton's consistency for race control. The conversation had evolved from reactive to proactive, from hopeful to confident. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of Hamilton's Monza performance was his response to carrying a 5-place grid penalty. Rather than viewing it as a handicap, Hamilton seemed to be treating this penalty as a strategic advantage that could make him more dangerous than ever. Hamilton's 5-place grid penalty from Zandvoort should have been a significant obstacle. Even pole position would only secure 6th place on Sunday's starting grid. Yet Hamilton's Friday approach suggested a completely different strategic mindset. He wasn't chasing qualifying headlines or pole position glory. Instead, Hamilton was methodically preparing for Sunday's race battle. His extended race simulations demonstrated the ability to slice through traffic with strategic intelligence rather than desperate overtaking attempts. His tire management showed Ferrari could finally avoid their characteristic pattern of risky strategic gambles born from desperation. The emotional context amplified everything. Monza represents more than just another circuit for Ferrari. It's their temple, their spiritual headquarters, where decades of racing history live and breathe. Hamilton experiencing this atmosphere in Ferrari, colors for the first time, created a symbiotic energy between driver and supporters that was palpable throughout the paddock. The Tifosi embraced Hamilton as if he'd always been part of Ferrari's story. Every purple sector triggered roars that echoed across the circuit. Banners declaring "Benvenuto a casa Lewis" appeared throughout the grandstands, welcoming him home in Italian. Hamilton's demeanor remained composed and focused. No premature celebrations, no bold proclamations about weekend dominance. Instead, he maintained intensive technical discussions with performance engineer Johannes Haas, analyzing brake temperature data, studying tire degradation patterns, and optimizing energy deployment strategies for Monza's long straights. His radio communications carried a tone of calm satisfaction rather than the frustration that had characterized much of his 2024 season. Saturday's qualifying session approaches with Ferrari's expectations completely recalibrated. The weekend's narrative has shifted from hoping for damage limitation against Red Bull and McLaren to potentially controlling their home Grand Prix, grid penalty notwithstanding. Hamilton's Friday performance suggests he's unlocked the SF25's potential at high-speed circuits. His combination of straight-line speed and race-pace consistency could prove decisive not just at Monza, but at remaining power-sensitive venues on the calendar. The evidence points to a fundamental breakthrough. Hamilton hasn't merely given Ferrari hope for a strong home race result. He's provided them with genuine belief that their championship fight remains viable. Friday's practice sessions may have marked the moment when Ferrari's 2024 campaign transformed from damage control to title contention. The real test comes Sunday. Can Hamilton convert practice pace into race victory despite his grid penalty? Will Ferrari finally execute the strategic precision their car performance now deserves? One thing is certain, Hamilton's Monza debut in Ferrari Red has changed everything about how we view the remainder of this championship fight. What's your prediction for Sunday's race? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed for all the latest Formula One analysis and updates.